The LSU baseball Tigers finally pulled off the win over Little Rock to clinch the Baton Rouge Regional. Now, just West Virginia and 2 wins separate the Tigers from a return trip to Omaha and the College World Series. This week, I spoke with former LSU National Championship pitcher Anthony Ranaudo to discuss the magic of playing in Alex Box Stadium and what it will take for his Tigers to get back to Rosenblatt Stadium next week. A bit of a tough year for college baseball in the state of Louisiana as one team made it to the field of 64, but that one team is still playing headed to the Super Regional, and that is LSU. And the man joining me pitched for LSU, led the SEC in strikeouts. He was 3rd in the country for strikeouts, also won a national championship. Anthony Ranaudo. The unique thing, Anthony played in the old box. He actually got the last out at the old box and then played at the new box. Are your juices flowing because it's Super Regional weekend? Do you kind of get going? You want to get back out there?
It's the best time of year, yeah. And you know, and anytime the competition rises up, right, that's, yeah, of course. I still have that itch, but just being out in the box, the atmosphere, everything, right, is the best time of year for Baton Rouge.
A Jersey boy born and bred, but now calls Baton Rouge home. And I know you wrote a very interesting article that you posted on your website about how Baton Rouge has become home, but how baseball also shaped you to want to stay here in Louisiana. Tell me about that.
It's such a unique culture. I'm blessed to have played in some really great markets. Think about it. I got drafted by Boston, made it there and played in the big leagues there. Yep. Traded to Texas and played in Dallas, right? And then Chicago. I played in 3 huge markets, and it's just different here. It really is. And people ask me all the time, why do you live in Baton Rouge? And I think I titled part of my caption that. And I said, this is why. Because of the postseason at the box, the way the people care, the culture, right? The way that I was absorbed into this culture, and because of that fraternity and the things that people did before me, it's just one of the coolest things for me.
You do have the unique perspective. You got the last out at the old box, but you remember the old box. The crowd was a little different. They're more on top of you as opposed to what is the new box now. But that's what really drew me with the article that you put out there because of the perspective. What do you think in the comparison to where you used to play and the new Alex Box Stadium?
You said it perfectly. It was just loud. It was just so different. There was this, you could feel the box vibrating almost, like when there was a. And again, it was so funny because I didn't know any better. I was a 17-year-old kid when I first got down here, 18, right, during the baseball season. And I was promised these things of you're not going to even understand how different it is. And then I did when I got to the new box, right, because there really is a little bit of a difference. The more space, it's wider, right? Instead of being on top of you, that was the biggest difference. When I was pitching on that mound, you could feel, and luckily they were behind me, right? They were on my side. I can't imagine what it was like being an opponent. And that's what the article was about. Jared shared that piece from a player on UC Irvine in that Super Regional, and they lost a game because their kid couldn't hear their coach because the stadium was so loud.
Yeah, the coach wanted him to back up.
Literally.
He couldn't hear him, and then he wound up missing
the ball over his glove, just a chopper. And you can hear this kid tell the story because he's at second base, and he was trying to yell at him. He's like, whatever his name is, right? He's like, back up. And then sure enough, pitch is delivered, bouncer over his head, and we score, and then we win the next day, and everything was wild.
And I think it's important to realize that there are not a lot of schools in the country that are revenue making, right, positive revenue in college baseball like it is LSU. There's certainly something to be said for 12,000 every night. And this past weekend, very good crowd, different crowd. And at least, and I was thinking that, that's why I look forward to talking to you. There was a scenario against Little Rock, bases loaded, 2 outs in the old box. Everybody would have been up, and like you said, the stadium would have been shaking. The pitcher's going to bounce it, or he's going to go Bull Durham and hit the mascot for the nerves. This one, it's larger, but it just doesn't seem like that on top of you intensity is there. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. It's and that's the way that the game has shifted, right? Stadiums are more spread out, and we talk about it's a revenue generating thing, and there's opportunities there for the universities, but that is the biggest differentiator, is that ability for the crowd to affect the opposing player. Now, I still think they affect it, and that's just harder to do and perform when the crowd is doing those things. But when it's not in your ear, they feel like they're right over your shoulder in the bullpen, and they're saying your sister's name and all these different things. You're like, okay, so it's a different vibe, but it still is the best atmosphere in college baseball. And you go there, and still all the opposing players and families and everything still have the best experience, which is awesome to me.
How much do you still reminisce about your days as an active player? I know you had a great career in the majors, like you said, a lot of big markets. You got traded a couple times, and the moves that you made, those are great experiences. But I know this was unique. How much do you still reminisce on your days, either getting the last out of the box, the dog pile for the national championship? You were blessed to have that as well. What stands out to you?
I mean, there's so many things. I mean, the list goes on. One of my favorite ones that I love to tell, DJ LeMahieu, still playing Major League Baseball, right? He's one of my best friends. And when we won the national championship, we were in the dugout, and, coach was giving some seniors their chance to get their standing ovation, all that stuff, right? So DJ and I are like, what's our plan? Where are we going to be in the dog pile? So I love that moment of do we want to be on the bottom? Should we be a little bit on the outside this time? Because it kind of hurts being on the bottom. It's a lot of intensity and pressure. And then the other thing was DJ, I know you're from Wisconsin. He's a Green Bay fan. I was like, should we do a Lambeau leap into the stands in left field when we do the lap? He's like, oh my God, I love it. So that's what we did. We did our whole lap, and DJ and I literally, like, those walls were huge. So we were like, hey, we're going to do a leap. We want to jump in. And they were like, what? And so all the fans picked us up. DJ and I scaled the wall, jumped in, and we were sitting back, and we were like, just having a moment.
Absolutely.
And so that one to me is probably one of my greatest experiences, and just, doing that lap with the team and everything. And then the night in Omaha. Omaha's an awesome city, so it was awesome.
Got about 45 seconds left, so let me put on your analyst cap. LSU struggled against Little Rock, who, give them credit, played outstanding, but they wind up beating them at midnight on Monday night to move on to Super Regionals. Here comes West Virginia. 2 or 3 to go to Omaha. What's the biggest key for your Tigers if they're going to make it back there again?
The pitching's got to be the pitching. They've been consistent all year, right? So I think, we need Cade Anderson to be his Friday night self. We need Ianson to keep doing his thing. He's probably the hottest pitcher in the country right now. And then the bullpen to keep doing their thing. And if we have to go to a game 3, Case and Evans, we need that
sure.
same.
What a magical moment, huh?
Exactly. And we need that same kind of performance. So if the pitchers do that, I think the offense will do its thing and the box will have its magic, right? So I'm kind of counting on those things.
There will be a lot of people. It's going to be a hot weekend. There are a lot of people there. And if anybody knows about winning, it's this man right here. Anthony, it's great to see you.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate the reminiscing and the stories, and we'll see what happens this weekend.
Anytime. Go Tigers.